Hey Sales World. When most people think about the customer journey, they only really think about it from the perspective of how they interact with their company. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about a journey that not many people are speaking about, and it's the client decision-making journey. And the client decision-making journey is the stages or gates a business must go through in order to purchase something. If you think about it in your world, if someone comes to you and wants to purchase something, no matter the size of the business that you currently have, there's either a formal or informal decision-making process. And it's the same for businesses we interact with. So before we start, my name's Gavin Ty. By day, I'm an enterprise SaaS salesperson, and I'm also the founder of Sales Market Fit. And in my journey of enterprise sales for startups, I've learned that the typical customer journey mapping process, or how it's currently thought, just wasn't helping land sales. So let's get into it. So before we start, I just want to talk about the customer journey mapping. So it's a visual representation of how your customers or potential customers will interact with your business from the web page all the way through to onboarding and customer success, etc. What I've done here is just brought up a standard customer journey template. We can see from this current map, which is relatively standard across many different maps, is they have the awareness stage, consideration, purchase, onboarding, and advocacy, and there's subsections upon there. But in the world of sales, this is a relatively simple view of how a customer would interact with your brand. And what I learned through my days as an enterprise salesperson is this does not give me context of the actions I need to do to win a sale, particularly when there's a sales team involved. So what I had to do was rethink the customer journey. And if we think about what a sale is a consequence of someone deciding to buy. So it makes complete sense to map the journey of getting a customer to that buying decision. And with any business and any market in any geography, there is a set of processes an organization must go through in order to buy something. And that is the purpose of understanding the client decision-making journey. Once I mastered this, I was able to close far more deals regularly at a more higher value because I knew what stage they were up to in this journey. Some of you may be asking, how is this relevant to me? And a common scenario would be is if you're having plenty of initial meetings or discovery meetings or demos with clients, and they say, yes, okay, well, we're interested, but over time that interest diminishes and they don't move forward to a purchasing decision. One of the most common reasons is they're getting caught up in their internal business processes or their internal processes inside their organization, and they can't adequately demonstrate the value or the return on investment or the problem within their business to get that buy-in from others in the organization to move towards a purchasing decision. So once I understood this as well, I was able to align my sales efforts and stop applying a scattergun approach and start directing my effort to get businesses or the people I'm engaging with just to the next stage of their buying decision journey. And what I ended up doing was creating stages in my sales funnel that aligned with the stages a business goes through, because my role as a salesperson is to help people along that funnel as quick as I can and get them to want to buy us as quickly as possible. And the outcome of that for us was reducing the length of sale, increasing our win rate, and becoming far more efficient in our sales efforts. So let's look at the sales pipeline. So let's talk about how people get to a purchasing decision. In my role as a salesperson, there's two types of interactions at the beginning of a sales process. One, a customer is aware of the problem they have and they're looking for a solution. Or two, I'm trying to generate interest and highlight problems within a business that I can solve. And sometimes people may not be aware of those problems. Now, the first case is they're looking for a problem, they're on the journey to solve it. The second scenario is they're not quite looking. So you would naturally expect the second scenario to take longer because they're not actually aware it's in a problem in their business, and it may take them a little longer to prioritize solving that. But generally, once people are interested in something, they first have to equate value to the purchase. So as you can see from this pipeline, is I will generate interest with a business. That is my sole goal of outbound lead generation, cold calling. My goal is to generate interest in what we actually do as a business. And that's through a number of scenarios here. I've got topics of discussions. Now, by the way, if you want a copy of this sales pipeline, there's a link down below and you can grab a copy of that for free as well. Now, next, once I gather enough interest, what I'll do is I'll take our product out and I'll say, you're actually not ready to buy us yet. We need to help you quantify how much of a problem this is within your business. Now, depending on the problem, they may need quantitative and qualitative proof, and it's depending on your markets, depending on your clients, depending on the size of your business that you may have to pay more attention to this. But you can see in the pipeline, there's various different tools that you can create to help justify this. Now, one of the reasons we need to do this is because startups or businesses often talk in solutions, but they don't actually go back and help a client quantify those problems first. If you're selling a $10,000 piece of software per month, it really has to be a substantial problem that you're solving, and it has to be provable. Ideally, it's between 10x to 20x the return on investment for them to move forward. Now, once I can help them define their problem, I'll develop tools to automate this, to make this far more efficient over time. Then I need to show them that our platform will solve their problems. And that's where I start talking about the requirements, the unique features to solve those issues that they have within their business. I think about the yellow brick road as a good analogy. I'll target my questions and point them down the yellow brick road, because at the end, our product is there as a natural fit to solve the problems. Then, depending on the size of your business, you really need to qualify when this is going to close. Some large enterprise businesses, you may go through this exercise and then they'll have to prioritize the budget spend, or it may need to go to a board or an executive team to be prioritized to purchase. And sometimes that can be a period of time before that gets approved. But then after that, when they do a formal market engagement, which I'll find out how they're going to buy us, whether it's just a proposal or have to go to tender or get quotes for 3 or 4 different companies, I will ask that early in the process and I'll align my efforts. I would have aligned my efforts, particularly in a requirements gathering, to help them speed through these processes as quick as we can. Particularly if you're selling something of high value to a government department or a large business, they may need to go to a tender process. So it's important to understand that and develop your requirements to help them through those stages and separate yourself from the competition. So most people wait for the formal engagement part of a sales process, but a business is 70% through their buying journey by the time they get to you. So if we go back and have a look at that customer mapping journey, we can see that people have awareness. They're asking friends and co-workers, or they may stumble across, maybe they have a problem they're looking at you to solve. We need to understand the context. And this is a way to do that, is to map their decision-making journey, ask them how they got to us, how they see their problem, help them quantify their problem, build it out from a $20,000 problem as an example to a $200,000 problem, and really adding value along the way, separating ourselves from the competition as we go and building on that law of reciprocity. Then we're just following how they would purchase. But if you've done that work up front, you're far more likely to win more clients more often than not. Now, you can't do this for every client. You have to make your best guess if they're going to move forward. Remember, organizational action is everything. If they're putting the action in to work with you during this process, they're very serious. If they're just paying you lip service and not actually doing the effort required to go through this, you know that they're not actually quite serious. Now, I was able to reduce the length of sale from around 75% from 4 years down to 1 year in some instances when we were dealing with large corporate organizations. And more importantly, I was able to quote on significantly high value SaaS, somewhere in the realm of $30,000 per month to $45,000 per month, and more importantly, close on that same amount because I spent the time adding value to the sale and building up the problem that was substantial. So that's why it's critical to understand the client decision-making journey. Now, in the making of this video, I've been doing a lot of searching on the client decision-making journey, and it's not a common search term. So that means your competitors aren't doing this. So if you can do this and do this well and learn over time, you will clearly differentiate yourself from the competition and start gaining market share. It is that important to do. And I do this every day in the trenches for the company that I work for. So I hope that helps you in understanding why it's important to map out your client decision-making journey. Now be aware, going through the different tiers of markets, those decision processes or formal decision processes change, but they're still there. And that's one of the differentiators between tier 1, 2, and 3 of the market, is understanding how those processes change and changing your effort accordingly to win more deals over time. Now, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And as I mentioned, I'll put a link down below and in the comment section where you can get your copy of the Sales Market Fit Pipeline. And if you have any questions, reach out. Thanks.